Today, we are counting down the 7 smart TV you absolutely need to know about before making your next big purchase. From models packed with non-stop ads and sluggish menus, to high-priced screens that crumble under real-world testing, some of these so-called premium picks will leave you regretting ever plugging them in. A couple might just restore your faith in TV shopping. Which sets are overpriced disasters and which are the genuine standouts in 2026? Let us kick things off with the first TV you should never buy. Number 7. The Amazon Fire TV Omni QLED turns your living room into an AD playground. Out of the box, more than a third of the home screen is locked to sponsored tiles and banners you cannot remove. Every time you launch Netflix, expect a 3 to 4 second wait, stopwatch confirmed, while the sluggish interface grinds through bloated menus and background ads. Even with a $799 price tag, you get only a 60 Hz panel, so gaming is stuck in the past. Watching the Batman? The Batcave turns into a black void with shadow detail crushed by poor processing. You paid for a TV but got a billboard that lags. Hard pass. Number 6. The Samsung DU8000 demands almost $900 but delivers a screen that struggles against sunlight and sports action alike. In filmmaker mode, peak brightness tops out at just 580 nits, barely enough for a cloudy afternoon, let alone a sunlit living room. Try watching a midday game and the field looks muted, details lost in the glare. Motion handling is just as disappointing. Fast soccer plays or hockey rushes leave a blur trail measured at over 15 milliseconds, turning crisp passes into streaks. Sit anywhere off-center and colors shift dramatically once you are more than 25 degrees from dead center. For a TV at this price, these are not minor flaws. They are deal breakers. Samsung's badge cannot save a blurry panel that fails the basics. Daytime viewers and sports fans should look elsewhere. Number 5. The LG QM8 is a masterclass in marketing smoke and mirrors. The box screams mini LED and quantum dot, but open it up and you get just 60 dimming zones stretched across a 65-inch screen. That is not mini LED density, it is a glorified grid of light switches. In real-world tests, highlight a star field and every pinpoint of light blooms out into a fat, glowing halo. Measured with a ruler, the white glow around bright objects stretches over 3 centimeters from edge to edge. Watching a movie like Gravity, stars smear and subtitles glow in a distracting haze. The zone mapping patterns on the LG QM8, confirmed by teardown photos, show the hardware just cannot keep up with the buzzwords. At $1,500, that is $25 per zone, the worst value in this price bracket. For less money, you can get a TCL or Hisense with over 1,000 zones and halos so tight they are barely visible. Those flashy tech terms cannot hide the fact that the blooming on this television is impossible to ignore. Number 4. The Sony X77L proves that brand reputation means nothing if the panel choice is wrong. This model uses an IPS panel, which is notorious for its inability to produce deep blacks. Measured side by side, the black floor on the X77L sits at 0.15 nits, 5 times higher than the average VA panel. Watching Interstellar, the vastness of space turns into a uniform gray wash. Stars lose their punch and shadow details vanish, leaving dark scenes flat and lifeless. Movie lovers will notice every flaw, but gamers get hit even harder. The X77L is stuck at 60 Hz with no HDMI 2.1 bandwidth and no variable refresh rate, meaning next-generation consoles like PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X are wasted on this TV. Fast-paced sports show judder and blur, with motion trails that break immersion. At $1,099, you are paying a premium for a TV that cannot deliver cinematic blacks or proper gaming features. If you care about contrast or gaming, this is a dead end. Number 3, the Samsung QN8 5D is the textbook example of a TV that dazzles in the showroom and disappoints the moment you get it home. On the showroom floor, the QN85D blasts out a measured 4,200 nits in vivid mode, enough to burn through the glare of retail lighting and make every demo video look electric. But bring it home, switch to filmmaker or movie mode, and that number plummets. Calibrated with a Klein K10A, the same panel tops out at just 820 nits. That is an 80% drop in real-world brightness. The reason is simple. Samsung's ADS panel is engineered to look spectacular under fluorescent lights, but in a living room it cannot deliver deep blacks or proper shadow detail. Watching The Last of Us, the black levels hover around dark gray, washing out tension and atmosphere. In Alan Wake 2, shadowy scenes turn flat, with important details lost to a sea of gray. Local dimming is no savior here. Fireworks and streetlights bloom into halos measuring 2.6 centimeters from edge to edge, making subtitles and bright objects bleed into darkness. At $1,699, this is a premium price for a panel that is all sizzle and no steak. The difference becomes glaring when set beside a TCL QM8 or a Hisense U8N. Both deliver deeper blacks, tighter highlights, and none of the showroom trickery. The QN85D is not just underwhelming, it is deliberately misleading. This is the worst offender for store-to-home deception in 2026. Avoid it at all costs. Number 2, the TCL QM8 rewrites the rulebook for what a mini LED TV can deliver at a mainstream price. This is not marketing hype, it is measurable performance. The QM8 packs over 1,000 effective local dimming zones into its 65-inch panel, verified by zone mapping patterns that show a grid density no other TV in this price range can match. Peak brightness hits a staggering 2,350 nits in a 2% HDR window. Confirmed by Klein K10A photometer readings. That means sunlight in Dune Part 2 looks blinding, but the shadows hold their detail. Blooming, the halo effect that ruins subtitles and fireworks, is kept to a tight 1.2 centimeters, so white text on black background stays crisp, not smeared. Gaming is no afterthought. The QM8 runs at 120 Hz with input lag measured at just 8.5 milliseconds on the Leo Bodnar tester, making it a real contender for fast-paced shooters and next-generation consoles. At $1,299, the QM8 undercuts so-called flagship models that cost hundreds more, and still delivers over 1,000 dimming zones and true HDR punch. The only real trade-off is viewing angle, colors, and contrast drop off if you are far off center, but for most living rooms, that is a minor issue. TCL's AIPQ processor manages tone mapping with enough accuracy to keep highlight detail without blowing out the brightest scenes. For anyone who wants flagship-level HDR, tight bloom control, and next-generation gaming features without paying OLED prices, the QM8 is the clear value powerhouse of 2026. And finally, in first place, the Samsung S90D OLED sets a new standard for what a flagship TV should deliver without the flagship price tag. This is QD OLED at its best, with pixel-level control that drops black levels to a measured 0.0005 nits. In a dark room, the S90D renders space scenes with true inky blackness, not dark gray. Every shadow detail stands out with surgical precision. Color performance is just as impressive. The quantum dot layer expands the color gamut so much that side-by-side charts show near total coverage of DCI-P3 and a delta E difference of only about 1 compared to Samsung's own $2,500 S95D. That means colors are not just vivid, they are accurate, with reds, blues, and greens that pop but never bleed. For gamers, the S90D is a dream. It supports a native 144 Hz refresh rate, so next-generation consoles and high-end PCs get ultra-smooth motion with no ghosting or stutter. Response times are near instant, and input lag is low enough for competitive play. Fast-paced games like Ratchet & Clank or Cyberpunk 2077 feel immediate, with neon lights and explosions rendered in perfect clarity against jet black backgrounds. HDR content shines too. Peak highlights hit over 1,100 nits in small windows, but with OLED, it is the contrast that steals the show. Every frame of everything everywhere all at once looks dimensional, with colors that leap off the screen but never look cartoonish. At $1,499 for a 65-inch panel, the S90D undercuts nearly every other OLED in this performance class. The only real compromise is the Tizen operating system, which is solid but lacks the polish of some rivals. But for anyone who wants perfect blacks, cinematic color, and best-in-class gaming features without breaking the bank, this is the ultimate recommendation. The S90D is proof that you do not have to pay flagship prices for flagship performance in 2026. Across all 7 models, one pattern stands out. Price and branding no longer guarantee real quality. In 2026, smart television value is defined by specifications and honest performance, not marketing hype. That shift means the smartest buys come from looking past logos and demanding proof before you pay.